Hello, everybody, and a great late afternoon. My name is Don Arleth, and you're watching World News here on TVP World. Ukraine security services, the SBU, are going after the country's main anti-corruption agency over alleged ties to Russia. Some officials have been arrested, and dozens of searches have been conducted as part of the crackdown. The security services say they had arrested one official at the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine as a suspected Russian spy and another suspected with business ties to Russia. Other anti-corruption officials had ties to a fugitive Ukrainian politician's banned party, the SBU said. The Anti-Corruption Bureau believes that the crackdown went beyond state security issues to cover unrelated allegations such as years-old traffic accidents. Anti-corruption watchdog Transparency International also weighed in, saying the searches showed that the authorities were exerting massive pressure on Ukraine's corruption fighters. Earlier on Tuesday, Ukraine's parliament voted to place the country's anti-corruption agencies under the control of the national prosecutor, effectively exerting political control over the institutions. The opposition says it's a dark day for Ukraine and a step closer to authoritarianism by President Zelensky's government. The new Ukrainian Prime Minister has announced she will approach the International Monetary Fund and the United States for additional loans. Speaking with Bloomberg, Yuliia Svyrydenko said that additional funds are needed to purchase weaponry.
According to Bloomberg's report, Ukraine is currently only due half of the around $75 billion needed to fund its defense against Russian aggression over the next 2 years. The current IMF loan of $16 billion will expire in 2027. Svyrydenko suggested to Bloomberg that her government does not expect the war to end in the next year and that a new IMF program is, quote, likely. She will also approach U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent to discuss new financial aid from Washington. Svyrydenko was Ukraine's chief negotiator of the so-called minerals deal and is thought to be well regarded by the Trump administration.
Speaking to TVP World's On the Record, the former Austrian Chancellor commented on migration issues in the European Union. Sebastian Kurz argued for a strong migration policy during his tenure and continues to support the Australian migration system, which prioritizes turning back illegal migration overseas and granting asylum on the basis of skills and labor market needs.
From my perspective, what is really needed is securing our external borders. The idea of a European Union without internal borders is a great one, but this idea only works out if you have strong external borders, and we are still not there yet. The whole problem with illegal migration will always be huge if migrants can decide in which country they apply for asylum. So if you let somebody who comes to the European Union decide to start in Greece and then go through all the Balkan countries till you are in the heart of Europe, and then to decide if you apply for asylum in Austria, Germany, or probably in Sweden, because the social welfare systems are the most attractive there. If such decisions are possible, then you will always have a huge number of people trying to come illegally to the European Union.
The war in Ukraine was a wake-up call for Europe when it comes to the development of its space assets. The change is happening on multiple levels, said Kinga Gruszecka, chair of the board of the Polish Space Professionals Association, in a recent interview with TVP World.
I think the wake-up call happened February 2022, and many researchers, the one also that at PSPA, mentioned that thanks to this war, or due to this war, we see militarization of space assets. That was a wake-up call to how we use and how we have to be independent also with the space asset, who we can trust, but also how we can protect space assets. That is also very important. it is important that we have satellite imagery, Earth observation satellites on orbit. We have satellite communication satellites, in orbit, but we have to protect them. We have to understand what is the surrounding around them. We have to protect also when it comes to encryption, the data that are provided through those satellites.
A drone revolution in the Polish armed forces has started, said Polish Deputy Defense Minister Cezary Tomczyk when announcing the formation of the Polish Military Drone Center. He also said that the war in Ukraine shows that modern drone warfare changes quickly and procurement procedures need to adapt to this situation.
We cannot accept a situation in which we know from the Ukrainian battlefield that drone technology evolves within 5 to 7 days, and the stiff procedures in the Polish army can take up to several months. We are drawing conclusions from this, and the amended law will enable the army to purchase unmanned weapons systems deemed necessary by Polish soldiers after military and innovative needs testing. This is absolutely crucial.
A man accused of fatally shooting a Polish professor in Greece has told investigators that he acted alone. The accused denied receiving any instructions from the professor's ex-wife, who is charged with arranging the killing after court documents revealed the victim was living in fear of his former spouse. Przemysław Jeziorski, a 43-year-old economics professor at the University of California, Berkeley, was shot 5 times in Athens near his ex-wife's house. The 43-year-old Konstantina Nadia Michadalki is charged with inciting his murder, which could be linked to a custody dispute. However, the man who was arrested as the suspected gunman was in a relationship with the professor's former wife. He said he acted alone and did so, quote, to bring peace to my family. The claims come after court documents revealed Jeziorski filed for a domestic violence restraining order against his ex-wife just 2 months before his death. The victim wrote that he was afraid of what Michalidaki was doing what she could do in the future. The file is now being reviewed as part of the investigation. The popular video sharing platform YouTube has taken down over 30,000 accounts linked to Russian, Chinese, and other propaganda campaigns since the start of this year. The data was shared in a quarterly security report at Google, which owns the platform. In the past quarter, 11,000 propaganda channels were banned. Over 2,000 of them were linked to Russia. Their content was shared in multiple languages and was critical of NATO and the West as well as Ukraine while praising Russia. The video platform YouTube is a source of news for millions of people worldwide. On Monday, the British government imposed new sanctions targeting Russia's Shadow Fleet, a group of oil tankers crucial to the Russian oil sector. The move also includes sanctions on 2 key Russian firms, Intershipping Services LLC and Litiasco Middle East DMCC.
The sanctions target 135 oil tankers, which have collectively transported over $24 billion worth of Russian oil cargo since the start of 2024, and play a vital role in keeping Russia's energy sector afloat. The British government said that the Intershipping Services LLC has been registering vessels under the Gabonese flag, allowing them to transport up to $10 billion worth of goods annually, circumventing international sanctions. These new measures come just days after the European Union announced an 18th round of sanctions against Russia, including further restrictions on Russia's oil and energy industries.
And that concludes this edition of World News. Thanks for watching and stay with us because the bottom line is coming up next with Marie Cato.